We're live. Hold on. Hello, everyone. It's been a while, and welcome back to the social room where we have our panelists today. So we have Anthony Izell and we have Pastor Coach Horace today. We do not have our other host, Joseph Slater, today, so we'll just wait and see what happens to him and see if he'll be coming back to the show or if it personally happened. But today's show, again, we said welcome back, but today's show is going to be about, we're going to talk about police immunity, like qualified immunity and what protects them and why is it protected them from violation, like constitutional violation or statutory violation. So we're going to get into that, but there was an article that went out and Anthony, he's going to share just a brief of it. But we want, before we even get into the article, we just kind of want to dialogue a little bit about the qualified immunity. Hold on, y'all. Let me hold for it just a second. Yeah. Also, of course, we want to welcome you back to the war room. War room. Sorry, what's his name? Jerry Monroe. Not the war room. Social room. But still we all rise. So we still that. Sorry, Jerry Monroe. Come on. Okay, here we go. We got internet connections again with Pastor Coach Horace. Anthony.
Yes.
While I'm doing this, I want to go ahead and ask you, okay, so you remember the protests, Black Lives Matters, remember the George Floyd situation and all of that. So, and remember that everyone is talking about defunding the police department at the same time. Right. So what I'm going to get you a little bit of thoughts on defunding the police department, and then we're going to talk about qualified immunity and what it is. What I would do, I would jump into the qualified immunity part, and then if you all want to kind of just... Yeah, I'm going to jump into that myself, and then we can just go ahead and talk about it. But I want to, from the last time we had the show, let's talk about defunding the police department and how you feel about it. And y'all hang tight. If y'all have questions and comments, please state your question, put your comments in, type your comments in. We will post it so we can share it. And we will go ahead and elaborate on your comments at the same time. But we want to talk about qualified immunity. But let's talk about defunding the police department and where your thoughts is on that. Do you think the whole department should be defunded, or do you think we need to reduce some of the funds when it comes to the police department? What do you think? Where are you at? What are your thoughts?
I think, yes, it should be defunded, refunded, reconstructed. And two, the other aspect of that, it needs to be cleaned out. It needs to be some serious house cleaning. Okay. Now, with the defunding and the refunding of the police department, they do not need the defunding aspect of it. They do not need Army tactical gear. They don't need that. What do you need that for against, everyday citizens? What do you need that type of gear for? Unless there is a situation that mandates that. But your everyday use of that type of equipment or the accessibility to that type of equipment should be in question. What do you need riot gear for? Now, I can understand if you have a massive crowd. You don't need tear gas. You don't need pepper spray. You don't need those paintballs, those rubber bullets to fire at people that are peacefully protesting. You don't need
you that. Said paintball.
Yes.
Anthony, where's paintball from?
They have pepper paintballs. They have, yes, they have those, and they fire them into the crowd.
Okay.
And trust me, they do sting. Oh yes. They bust on impact.
Okay.
It's got the pepper spray in it, but they will leave a little welt on you. Yeah. Oh yes, they have. What do you need that type of equipment for? Okay, I can understand that you want to be able to ensure that the crowds do not get out of control, but when you come in dressed like that, what do you think your reaction is going to be? If I see a Gestapo of riot gear coming after me, My first mind is to get the hell out of Dodge because it's about to get ugly. Because I already know what that is designed for. Being ex-military, I know what that's for. It is to disperse and disrupt the crowds and to cause mental and physical harm.
Right.
It is designed to do that. That show of force is to psychologically enable you, disable you, because you're going to be sitting there like, oh, wait a minute, what do I do now? What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to stand here and try to negotiate, or am I going to put myself in a safer distance away from this because what if scenario comes up? That's where that what if all of a sudden by somebody antagonizes the police? What if the police all of a sudden antagonize the crowd? You have to think about that what if scenario. Now, with
Right.
the qualified immunity, what is
No,
qualified?
we're not gonna jump, we're not gonna jump there yet.
Okay,
Not yet. No.
but
I'm gonna introduce that.
yeah, but going back to the defunding, absolutely, it needs to be completely revamped from the top down. There should be no internal investigation. It should be an external unit that comes in to investigate what's going on in-house.
Right.
There should be no shielding of bad cops. That's why I said it needs to come from the top down, especially if you know you got bad apples in your house and you allow this to continue. You need to be out of office too. You need to be away from that desk. You don't need to be an officer. Now, there are police officers. My son is one. He is a sheriff in Lubbock, Texas. My son is also white. He has black brothers and sisters. So he knows how to display respect of another ethnic group because that's all he's been around all of his life. He decided to become a sheriff in Lubbock, Texas. And I told him, I'm like, son, if you see kids out there playing basketball, pull over and play with them. Show them that you want to be a part of the community. Show them this. Don't let the community feel as though they are afraid of you. If you see people having a barbecue or just a party out, just introduce yourself. Make that type of contact with people. Show them that you are human. Show them that you are a husband. Show them that you are a father of 2 kids. That's what you do. You want to go home too? But if you see them out there, make a difference with you. Let it start with you. And when it comes,
okay, so I don't want to cut you. Hold on, I don't want you. No. I don't want you to cut you short, but I want to jump in, and so we want to move into the qualified immunity part of it. I just wanted to kind of give everybody like an update from the last show where we saw in the police department, and do we think it should be defunded out total, Coach Pastor Coach Horace, or should we reduce some of the funding and reallocate it to like low income housing or affordable housing? So I just want to get your take in that, and then we're going to talk about the qualified immunity, what it is, and do we think police officers should have them? So what's your take on the funding of the police department as a whole, or reducing some of the funding and reallocating it? Pastor Coach Horace.
Well, my take is, one of the things I'm concerned about is how we use the words. When you say defunding, it makes people think that we're trying to take something away, but really we're just redirecting things. Okay. And we want to redirect it in a way that it's going to solve a problem. We're not concerned about the problem is when you redirect funds and you relocate them, then there's somebody got to suffer. Okay. So that's what the resistance is. It's not just about changing the minds of the officers and changing them in that direction. The problem is our resistance is people don't want to let go of that extra money to put it in the place where the problem needs to be solved. So I want to make sure that what I'm standing for is redirecting or defunding money that's going to solve the problem, but not just turn around where we just sitting here saying, okay, we're going to take some money from y'all to punish y'all. No, we're saying this is going to be a problem-solving solution, and we spend more money in this area that is not getting the results. So we may want to redirect the money over here. We'll get the results because the police taking it personal. Okay, everybody's taking it personal because people are looking at their own self-righteous benefit. But if we're trying to move past injustice to justice, we have to look at what is the problem. The problem is not only the laws, but the funding. And the reason why a lot of people are protecting, there's a lot of money behind, and what I've discovered, it's a lot of money behind all this. Okay. And people don't want to let things go, not because of justice, but because they've made a lifestyle off of injustice.
Right.
So defunding, yes. But
okay, did we lose him? Yep, we lost him. Okay, he'll come back. So I want to get his complete. Yeah, here he goes. He come back. He came back. Here he goes. Sorry, y'all. If you have any questions or comments, please post your comments. Please share the video. Please tag others as well. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Pastor Coach Hart. We have you back.
I know.
You there? We can see you. We can see you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can see you too.
Okay. Yeah, see me too. Okay. So what is actually happening? We don't want to fight with officers. We want them to know this. Okay. There's too many people taking this stuff personal. But this is for the next generation. We got to start the conversation.
You know what? People have answer this tag on that till he come back.
Yeah.
People have a right to take it personal. It's not business, you know. We want to take it personal because it's personally affecting people's lives. I want a tag on that when he come back in.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you keep popping off.
Yeah.
Are we gonna have you throughout the show? You keep popping off. We want to have you throughout the show.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you. Huh? Yeah, we can hear you. Oh my goodness.
But go ahead and just. But yes, people should take that personal because it is affecting people in general, not just the Black and brown community, but it's affecting people in general. The low income neighborhoods with these huge police departments or the community police departments, they have more funding than the actual community center does, or the neighborhood in general. And it would be nice to take some of these millions of dollars that these police departments are getting and to spread that money out the neighborhood. But now, like say for instance, I'm gonna give Sunnyside prime example. The drainage system over there, the gutters and everything. The city has never come through there to clean any of that up. Anything.
Anthony, hold on, Anthony. Do we want to say never? Maybe you want to say
never seen anybody Sunnyside.
So we want to
clean up. I have lived in Sunnyside for a very long time. I have yet to see.
Just say it in your time. I don't know. I can't say that.
Come into Sunnyside, into the neighborhoods like Maggie and Dwayne, around that area, the Brinkley area, the Alvin and Jutland area. I have never seen the city come over there. But the police the police presence is heavy. And the reason why I say the drainage systems where they dig out those old culverts and just leave it like that, but the trash, the water pools there, it backs up, the neighborhoods get flooded. So if we could reallocate some of that money to go in there to clean out some of that stuff, we wouldn't have those issues in those neighborhoods. We wouldn't have we have
Coach Hart. Hold on, let's recognize. Hold on, Anthony. Let's recognize he's back. When we recognize he's back, we want him to pick up where he left off at, because I know when you start, you're gonna roll, and I'm gonna have to just kind of interrupt you a little bit. I don't want to keep doing that to you or to him. So, Coach Pastor Horace, you can go ahead. What you said something about people take it personally. I'm gonna tag you on that. I'm gonna wait till you finish, and I'm gonna tell you why people take it personally. but we want to go ahead and allow you to say what you have to say. Oh, well, I don't know. We're just going to have him now. So I'm going to go ahead. Okay. The reason why we take it personally, okay, he got to keep coming back on. He got to do something with his phone or his laptop, whatever he's, I don't know where he at.
Just keep on rolling.
We're not going to keep going. You're going to either come on here, like our grandma said, you either going to stay in or out. Pastor, I'm going to tell you, going to stay in or out, okay? Yeah, we can't see you no more, but we can hear you.
You can't hear me?
We can see, now we can see. You going to stay in or out this show. What you going to do? You ain't going to keep coming over. Yeah. How long we gonna keep you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you. We gonna keep you on the show.
No.
Yes.
No. Oh, you can? Okay.
In or out? Stay in the show, okay? Stay in the show. Come in here. You stay in or out. You remember your grandma when you ran out the door as a kid? You stay in or out.
If you don't stop slamming that damn door.
Come on, Pastor, let's go. He froze on us. Got us.
Sorry, folks. We had to have a little humor. We do this every once in a while, but we're gonna get back to it. But yeah.
So you know what? I'm about to just dive into it. Let's go into the qualified immunity and what it is.
Yeah.
And then we back, and then we go into it. So qualified immunity, like let's say when officers do a lot of misconduct, and so which means they violate a lot of rights. They violate statutory laws, they violate constitutional rights, right? And I want to say, as I sat back and listened to a lot of people, a lot of lawyers, in the judicial system, what I have noticed, officers use qualified immunity to protect their behaviors, to protect their conduct. So we want to get just straight into it right quick, because we're 17 minutes into the show, and I want people to have a thorough understanding of what's going on with the qualified immunity. And what I do believe, he's off. He'll be back. He just can't stay in. So he'll be back. Hey, Candace, how you doing? So please tag some people into the show. Share the video, please. Tag people in the show and share the video. If you have any questions, comments, we'll be ready for you. So qualified immunity is actually, I'm going to read off what it is. It's a qualified immunity is a doctrine. It's a doctrine, and it gives government officials, and we want to talk about government officials. We want to, like that once I finish reading a little smaller paragraph. So qualified immunity is a doctrine, and it gives government official discretionary function immunity. So when the government official make their discretionary decision, it's saying that it protects them from civil liabilities, is what it's saying. But they have a discretion. It's like they're making, to me, it's kind of vague when it says discretionary functions, So either you're within the law or you're not within the law. We jumped into the qualified immunity because you keep popping it out. I will let you finish your comment. I want to just tag on this qualified immunity real quick, since we've already started the show. So anyway, it protects them from civil suits unless the plaintiff showed that the official, like that official, that's the key word, the official have violated statutory, clearly have violated statutory laws and the Constitution, where a reasonable person can know in that position that they have violated the law. So it's a fight, it's a struggle to claim not to claim qualified immunity, but to fight qualified immunity with a lot of police officers. So when federal lawsuits are actually granted, or when they file those federal lawsuits, the first thing they want to get it dismissed behind qualified immunity. That's the first thing. And then if a lawyer is incompetent, or a pro se person is incompetent, or no one knows how to fight qualified immunity by overcoming qualified immunity, they will lose, and the officer will continue to stay on the force. They'll continue to keep their pay. They'll continue to violate statutory law. They'll continue to violate your constitutional right. So what I've seen in the breakdown is just qualified immunity has not been challenged correctly, because you have two ways you can overcome qualified immunity, although it says one. But before I get into that, I'm gonna allow you to read that article that just came out about these 58 Democrats, 2 Republicans. They're trying to strike down qualified immunity. So because it's a lot of excessive forces being used by police officers, so they either wanted to limit those qualified immunity or strike it down. And I'm for either or, but at the same time, I just don't think no one's challenging qualified immunity or either understand qualified immunity as it's written. It's in black and white. You know, the rules are there. It's in black and white. What is so hard about overcoming qualified immunity? Go ahead and just briefly read the qualified immunity, Anthony.
Okay. Hang on. I just had it. Here we go. Sorry about that. And what you're saying about that too, it is strange how they can actually hide behind that. And it really makes no sense to me that they can legally, or I should say, take this opportunity to hide behind something that they clearly have done wrong, the way they will not be, I should say, persecuted or anything about that. I just had that. Oh, I just pulled up the Supreme Court. Okay. Where did it go?
We don't want to read that yet. We just want to.
Yeah, I just had it.
Don't read the Supreme Court.
No.
Don't read the Supreme Court stuff.
No, I'm not. I'm trying to find that.
We want to get you to talk about qualified immunity because you had some great questions earlier. Anthony, getting ready to pull up the article to read about qualified immunity. But until he do that, what's your take on qualified immunity? Do you think officers that violate people's rights and violate the laws of this land should have qualified immunity? That means they are protected behind that law. What do you think, Pastor Coach Harris? Do you hear me? Can you hear me? No, he can hear me. Pastor, can you hear me? Pastor?
Look like he's frozen again.
I don't know. Now, every time he come on, this happens.
Yeah.
This happens.
I found, okay, what is qualified immunity? Okay, I got it right here. Qualified immunity is a judicially created doctrine to shield government officials from being personally liable for constitutional violations, like the right to be free from excessive police force, for money damages under federal law, as long as the official did not violate clearly established law. Both 42 USC 1981, 1983 statute originally passed to assist the government to combat, well, that ain't even nothing right there, but it's basically letting them have the get out of trouble free pass, because they have to be able to clearly define a established law that was broken against you.
Hey, Angela.
So
that they showing you, hold on, it's not a get out of trouble free pass. You understanding that wrong. Okay. So it's not, if you understand what it says. That's why I said, let me talk about it. I don't want people confused. You're reading the article and you're trying to interpret it the best way you know how, but I don't want people confused. So it's not a get out of jail free pass at all. It's what it's for, what it's designed for. It's actually designed, they hide behind it, but people are not being able to challenge it the correct way. They're not following the law the correct way. So I don't want to really just misinterpret it, because just as you are about to, a lot of judges do it, lawyers do it, a lot of people do it. So that means that's a problem in the breakdown, understanding what qualified immunity is, but it's in black and white. So my understanding is the letter of the law, not the spirit of the law. And the letter of the law is what's in black and white. So it's not hard to interpret what's in black and white. But if you're trying to interpret, it's called in spirit of the law. And that's where I think judges and lawyers kind of get us lost at with these qualified immunities. So if I can understand what it said in black and white, it's just it, just read what it says. So what it says basically is, as long as not just explain it and you reread it again. So qualified immunity do protect government officials. It does protect them, but they have to do things within their official capacity, within good faith, that do not violate the law. So people just can't go out and make frivolous lawsuits. Like, if they're within the law, they protect your rights and recognize and safeguard your constitutional rights, they're safeguarded behind absolute immunity. They safeguarded behind qualified immunity. But when it comes to violating people's rights, they're no longer safeguarded. They're no longer protected. But a lot of lawyers in court use it as a weapon, like it's a blanket, period. Because nobody know how to break down what qualified immunity is. They don't know how to overcome that as a defense. And people need to learn how to overcome qualified immunity as a defense. So I want the audience to understand what qualified immunity is. So now we're going to take it further. Now, 42 U.S.C. 1983 came about because of the KKK. Yes. So that is an official document. That's a federal law. 42 U.S.C. 1983. Typically, police officers get sued up under that. It's a vehicle that we can use in the federal court system, and police officers actually get sued under that vehicle, 42 U.S.C. 1983. It's a deprivation of one's rights, a deprivation of people's liberties. Okay, and they always use that. But Section 1983 is for the state officials. It's for state employees and things of that nature. It's for them. And of course, then you have the Bivens, and versus the unknown agents, like 6 unknown agents. That case law is for federal employees. So these are the immunities that we can use to overcome that. The other tool you can use to overcome qualified immunity is when you're not asking for monetary damages. So a lot of people go wrong when they go and use a 42 U.S.C. 1983 on their petition, deprivation of one's right. They use that, and then they relief that they ask for in the petition. They ask for, I want $1 million for killing my son, or I want $15 million. So qualified immunity, if you're asking for monetary damages, you're not going to get it because you're asking for that kind of relief for state officials. So 1983 will not give you monetary damages on put like this here. 42 U.S.C. will give state officials, which they put police officers under that. It would give them qualified immunity as long as you're asking for money. Right. I want to make it easy. As long as you're asking for money, it will give them that. So you can't ask for money. You have to ask for injunctive relief. Injunctive relief might say, I want an apology. Injunctive relief might say, I want something changed in their policy, or I want, something done, or I want the police officer to lose their badge or their job or what have you. So that's injunctive relief. That's what you're asking for. So if you're asking for injunctive relief, then they can't hide behind qualified immunity. So it's like the ball is in your court when you petition the police officer, when you want to sue the police officer. So what do I want? Do I want money, or do I want injunctive relief or declaratory injunctive relief? What do I want? So we have to take a look at that. What do we want when we file these claims? So if anybody ever want to challenge a police officer and you are afraid that they're going to be able to hide behind qualified immunity, they can. They can if you clearly cannot establish what statutory laws they violated, if you clearly cannot establish constitutional rights that was violated, and if you asking for money. So they can hide behind that. So if you knock down those 3, then they can no longer hide behind that. And that's where we have to educate ourselves with that. So I don't understand what all these lawyers, because Democrats, majority of them are lawyers, they, try to go to the Supreme Court and try to see if they can knock down qualified immunity. And Supreme Court said they're not revisiting that again, because laws have already established, case laws are already there. Why would the Supreme Court want to take upon another one? It's not unprecedented. Nothing happened. Court said, bring us a lawsuit to show us something that was unprecedented that happened, and the claim got to be clear and cut, and they'll visit that lawsuit. It's not that they didn't want to hear it. It's just they got laws established already, and these are lawyers. So these lawyers should know. So what I think what the Democrats did, they try to make it seem like there's no law established in, qualified immunity, or they trying to make it seem like this is the reason why police officers are not held accountable. That is not the reason why. It's the way you challenge it. So to me, they are putting like a policy or an agenda out there for we the people to think and believe that they're doing something for us, when clearly it's established already on the books with the Supreme Court already. It's already there. How do you challenge qualified immunity? That's the question. Where are we with this? Where do we go from here? That's the question. Go ahead, Anthony.
And in one way, it says in the first way to show that the law was clearly established, the court has generally required plaintiffs to point out to an already existing judicial case decision that's substantially similar to the facts or results. So it has to be
as
clearly,
I was saying, and I was just
yes, it has to be clearly stacked. And
yeah, I don't want to sound redundant.
Mm-hmm. But that's what we got to get that out. It has to be. And then
I just said it.
Okay, so now two. When we go in there, we got to make sure that everything is absolutely the way we want it to be written down. Because you had said something about filing a lawsuit. Make sure that everything is established first in your lawsuit. What you want in it. And you just said if you want monetary, you're not going to get the qualified immunity.
No, they will. No, they will get qualified immunity.
Okay, so it has to be at a certain level, right? As far as monetarily.
Say that again.
Is that monetarily request? Is there a cap to it? Is there a certain amount that you can ask for from that?
They can't ask for no money, period, if they don't want the officers to have qualified immunity. They can only ask for declaratory injunctive relief. That's anything outside of money. Apologies, policy change, reform, what have you. Police officers lose their job, whatever. You can ask for anything outside of money to strip them of the qualified immunity. Is the way the rules are written, is the way the doctrine is actually written. Again, these lawyers, to me, they faking it till they make it. They should understand what qualified immunity is. They know how to strip police officers from qualified immunity to make sure they don't have it when they file these petitions on behalf of the plaintiff, but they play the game. Go ahead, Coach Horace. You had some questions about qualified immunity earlier, and I want you just for you, because I know you've been going back and forth trying to stay logged in. Let's just jump right into it for our viewers, if you don't mind. You have some great questions about it earlier.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. It's my understanding that in the definition, qualified immunity said something about a shield of for those who are in the government and also in the law enforcement. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Does it mention the term shield? In other words, it's saying that qualified immunity allows a person in a certain position be immune from the consequences of their actions because of the position they're in. That's the way I'm interpreting. So when it says shield, what does the terminology shield mean? Was it saying that it's helping people, or is that available for everybody when you're talking about qualified immunity?
It's available for those in their official capacity. Great question. We want him to come back. So his question was, is everybody protected from that? Only the government officials, as the doctrine stated. But the question is police officers government officials? That's the question now. Are they really government officials? They're not officials. They're employees. They're just regular workers. You can say they work for the state. So the question you ask, is everybody immune? The doctrine states that all the government officials are immune only when they're in their official capacity, only when they do their job according to the statutory, the state laws, only when they do their job according to the Constitution, as long as those state laws does not violate your constitutional right, and it also as long as it's not unconstitutional. That's when they are shield. Long as they're doing their job within their official capacity and within the law. So it keeps we the people from filing frivolous lawsuits. We keep losing him. So we're just gonna keep going. Go ahead, Anthony. You have a question, or you have a comment?
Because actually when I hit the link on the unlawful shield, or what the pastor was talking about, I actually went to why is qualified immunity an unlawful shield? And I'm going to it right now. In short, qualified immunity is an unjust, unnecessary, and unlawful doctrine that the Supreme Court simply made out of whole cloth. That's all it was. A special safeguard that grants government defendants is flatly at odds with the plain language in Section 1983 and unsupported by the relevant legal history. So it's
right, because the history it comes from the KKK. You know,
yeah.
that's how 42 USC 3 even exists.
Yeah.
And you got to go back and read that, and you don't have time to do that right now. Before don't even try to elaborate on something that you haven't even read yet. Angela, I have a question. She said, correction officers work for the state. Do they get immunity also? My question, Angela, if they're officials, I mean, have they taken an oath? You know, anybody that allegedly have taken an oath of office or deemed to be officials, you know. But then too, that's a good question, because CPS case workers, they didn't take an oath of office. They're not deemed to be officials, but they get this qualified immunity also. And we're trying to figure out where CPS case workers get these qualified immunity, because they work for the state of Texas. So, and police officers, they're municipality. So I'm trying to figure out how in the hell they even get qualified immunity, or how the qualified immunity is even, how does it even shield them when they're not even state officials? They're not state official employees either. They work for the municipality. They work for the city. So it's in the wording, you know, like Pastor has, she says something else.
Yeah.
She said, I missed the first 20 minutes of the conversation. We just now getting into the goods of the conversation. The first 20 minutes, we probably just talking about our last show, defunding the police department. So we're okay. Okay, she said, yes, where do they get these officials? Yeah, CPS, that's what we're trying to establish right now, because that's what we call an unprecedented case. Like, how do you get qualified immunity as a case worker when you're not an official capacity, you don't work in your official capacity, you're not official at all, you haven't been elected by the people, you don't have an oath of office on file. Police officers don't either. They have an oath of honor. Hey, Shane, how you doing? Look, I get excited when Shane get on here.
What's going on?
Where we been? Come on, Shane, because I know you got it coming rolling. But listen in first. You probably been listening. But let Pastor back in. So, Pastor, we kind of answered your question about is everybody immune to that? And the answer was everybody is not, you know, and only government officials are. And the confusing part that we're talking about is how CPS workers, they are not state officials at all, meaning they're not elected by the people or appointed by the government. I tell you what. Happy hump day. Happy hump day. We just gonna keep going, right? Pastor. We gotta keep going. Otherwise, this show will keep breaking. We just gotta keep rolling. Okay. Let's just he's gonna have to just come on to the next. I'm trying to be nice and keep putting him in, but he keep coming out. It's a distraction.
Yeah.
Hey, what you doing, Kenny Holden? Good day. Good day. Where y'all been? Y'all rolling in there? Y'all rolling in here late? Y'all rolling in here late?
What's going on, Mr. Holden?
Hey there. And Shane say happy hump day. So again, what the people have in terms of their immunity. So it was a good question that he asked. Hey, Kimberly Green, we have our sovereign immunity is built in the Bill of Rights. That's where our immunity comes from. Okay, police officers, I don't know how they get awarded this qualified immunity with the state officials, because they're not state officials at all either. So that's something that we, the people, are going to have to break down and bring. See, that's an unprecedented situation, and bring to our officials at the same time. Hey, Kenneth Holden. Okay, she have a question. Hey, Sean. Let's see what Angela had. So I thought there was an amendment where CPS is not allowed to disrupt child's home and education. Now, I don't know where that amendment is, but I can tell you, Angela Reynolds, back in 2015, HB 418, I was able to help lobby against CPS unlawfully removing children from the home based on allegation. So they was actually removing kids based on allegation with just the word allegation. So as long as the word allegation was there, it doesn't matter what the allegation were, they was able to unlawfully remove kids from their home But because I spoke up at the state of Texas at the legislature in the year 2015, it was passed also September 1st. It was passed, but it went into effect September 1st, 2015, HB 418. So CPS can no longer remove children based on allegation. They now have to remove children based on known knowledge of facts. So meaning they have to have evidence, they have to have videos, they have to have documentation from like credible sources, credible people, just not anything, not just a regular letter.
Right.
We have to have a notary official binding signatures and all of that. So it kind of makes it hard to remove children, but it was also up to me with which Mr. Chairman told me, Mr. Pena. It was also my responsibility to get that information out to the state of Texas. So when I saw I had to be the one, since I was the one that was able to change that, and I had to, blow the horns. I'm like, well, how the hell am I supposed to do that? I'm supposed to have a campaign. When you lobby a bill, you have to campaign that change that have taken place. So it is now my responsibility to go out and let parents know, hey, CPS is not allowed to do this. Here's the new changes. Although all state officials and CPS have to put it in their handbook, and you'll see those changes in their handbook. So if y'all can go, yeah, Angela, whoever laughing at me, I'm like, I'm not supposed to stop, that's the whole state of Texas. I'm supposed to cover that. Because they say it's your responsibility. Since you know of this and you're doing this, now you got to get it out, make those changes. Well, how? You're going to help me? You're going to fund me? You got to do something. I can't just go out here on Facebook, the whole state of Texas, like it's going to reach that far. Oh, absolutely. You're so welcome. You're definitely welcome. So I was able to get that passed. So verbiage was very important. So what they did was they crossed out the verbiage called allegation, and they put known knowledge of fact. So if y'all want to look up Bill HB 418, I was able to get that passed, So Gene Wu, he was the state representative. He had to change the administrative code, and I had to change the family code. So we had our parts to do. Now, what he was trying to do is get more. Both of us was on that bill, and he thought I was coming in to disrupt what he had going on. So he was asking for more foster care homes to be open. He wanted more funding for foster cares. And I'm like, hell no, if y'all start taking children out the home, and this is what I'm talking about, qualified immunity. Yeah. If y'all taking children out the home unlawfully, we don't need to have all these foster cares open, because CPS get awarded $2 billion, y'all, every session. They always come back begging. Every session they beg for money, and the government give them $2 billion to function off of. So what happened is majority of the kids that get separated from their families, when it comes to CPS, they get separated based on false positive drug testing. So what happens is, I'm going to just make this short, but people need to understand it. Thank you. The false positive drug, since we're talking about officials and qualified immunity, because we don't know how the hell they get it. So the drug testing, people can drug test, right? So you have, how can I say this here? You have two different drug testing reading, okay? A medical review officer will have to read that test. They have to be the expert witnesses on that test, right? And then you have the toxicologist. They have to be the expert on that test, like the reading of that test. So you have exposure. You can be exposed to drugs. So what they look for, I'm gonna just say this, they look for something called benzo, which means cocaine in your system. Okay, and they take a hair follicle. They may take 3 inches, they may take 6 inches. It may go back 6 months, or they could go back a year. So when they pull your hair follicle out, and I know this because I'm helped lobby that bill. So when they pull your hair follicle out and they dip it, it's going to come back positive, or it's going to come back negative for that benzo. Benzo can be in poppy seed. Benzo can be in a hair glue. Benzo can be in coke. Benzo can be in any medicine. Benzo can be in anything. It don't mean that person ingested it. So you have exposure, you have ingestion. So that don't mean that, I went and smoked some pot, some cocaine, and ingested myself. That means my glue can have benzo in it. Poppy seed on a burger, whatever bun can have benzo in it. So benzo is a false positive drug test. That's how come I say toxicologists actually have to be the expert witness of where the false positive, if it's a accurate reading or not. So a lot of kids have been removed out their home based on false positive drug test reading and been separated from their family because of that. And so in these caseworkers, they're not toxicologists, they're not medical review officers from any kind of drug testing clinic. Judges are not either. They don't know how to read these drug tests at all. So all they read is positive, negative, positive, negative. And they don't never have the second reading. The second reading shows that this person ingested, this person was exposed to it. So let's say I went to McDonald's and you know, a drug dealer was before me, and you know, bought him his children a Happy Meal or whatever. He got a quarter pounder meal and the child got a Happy Meal, but you know, he used his drug money for it. Yeah, and when I go behind him, they'll give me his money, you know, to change back, you know, so it just exchanged from one hand to the other. I've been exposed to it now, you know, so now when you do a hair follicle on me, I've been exposed to drugs. I've been exposed to cocaine. Now, guess what? You remove my kid. So it's things like that that CPS is protected from. And we need to get to the bottom of why CPS has been using qualified immunity, why these police officers using qualified immunity. So it's a lot of work to do when it comes to that. And I do not believe qualified immunity has been challenged the way it's supposed to be challenged. Your thoughts?
I agree with you because, like I said, with CPS should not have the power that they have. They should not be able to hide behind the stuff that they do. And I know personally, I'm going by a personal experience from CPS. They literally lied about something, you know, on a case for one of our kids. They literally lied about it. And the fact that and this is how we caught them in it, because my child's doctor at the time wasn't in that first meeting. So he didn't know about it. So he came to the second one. He came to the second one and he started reading the notes that they had put in there. And he's like, none of this has happened. And the supervisor of the caseworker looked at them. He's like, well, what do you mean? None of this that you have in this report is true. Because I talked to the child myself. And if you want to read my notes, here are my notes. Here, we can compare them right now. The supervisor, like, well, we're going to reconvene. This meeting is over right now. So that let me know something shady was going on with CPS. I didn't know it at the time. I was totally oblivious to it. So I can literally speak on how they are able to manipulate paperwork to their advantage, to remove a child from, because they almost tried to get one of mine. And that was not going to happen. So I didn't know it at the time. I didn't know how CPS operated. I didn't even know they even existed because I've never had that experience before. So it was an eye-opening experience for me. Okay, let me put it like that. And it was not a comfortable feeling. It was kind of frightening because they keep saying, oh, well, we'll just come and get all of them. Wait, hold up. Wait, what? So, you know, yes, it scared me. I'm not going to lie. Yes, it did. But at the same time, I'm like that too. How did they get this type of, you know, qualified immunity, being a CPS worker?
So you're right, Shane. He said, one of my cousins is a caseworker. I watched her use the system, take 2 kids from other cousins. The other had history of drug use. But but she used the system to basically take full custody, et cetera, a huge split in the family. Now, if that person, so Shane, for anybody that may be, I don't know why we're here. We're gonna come off here and go back to qualified immunity with police officer. But since we're here, let's talk about a little bit because maybe some people are experiencing it or have experienced it, you know, in the past, or maybe still experiencing it right now. So I just said that. So well, we don't get the chain of custody, like the drug testing. We don't get the chain of custody. CPS don't even like to reveal who's actually doing the drug testing. So sometimes these courts, they use national screening. So if y'all ever heard of national screening, these courts in Houston, Texas, use national screening, and that's who they use. And they make so much money about the owner will dip. He will dip, literally. This is something I know. You know, he will dip hair follicles in cocaine. Okay. And that reading will come back positive. This is something he would do. This is something I knew about. This is something I challenged him on. And he apologized. He apologized because another drug company, know him for 20 years and worked with him. So they knew his history. And I confronted him about what he did. You know, so I don't want to even go too far up into that, but they will. So you got to get the chain of custody from these drug testing place and see if it was even broken. And then you got to see if there's another reading on top of that. And what they don't have, Anthony and Shane, they do not even have, thank you, good topic, thank you. They don't even have toxicologists to come in, when they say Quest Diagnostic, wherever they did their drug testing at, they do not have toxicologists. There's no law for toxicologists to come in and actually testify to the accuracy of those readings. So judges just allow CPS to take these children out of these homes without a toxicologist reading that drug test, without a medical review officer. So you can have either or. Sometimes they just have an expert witness, and that expert witness is the person that performed the drug test. We don't need to hear from that person because that person is a conflict of interest. Your company's making a whole lot of money anyway. So you're going to testify, for your benefit no matter what, but it have to come from that science. It have to come from that toxicologist. And that's what courts do not use. If courts use that, we wouldn't have a lot of children in CPS today. And then sometimes drugs can be for recreational use. As long as the child haven't been neglected or the child haven't been abused or sexually abused, it's okay for recreational use, because you haven't abused your child. She said, I'm sorry that happened to you. I had a boyfriend call CPS on me because I broke up with him. He lied and said, I think she's talking about you, Anthony. He lied and said I was teaching my daughter how to use drugs and I was beating her like Adrian Peterson beat his kids. I don't know who that is. No lie. That's what he told me. After drug testing and interviewing my kid at school, they did drop the case, but it was now hindered. But it now hindered me from fostering or adopting the children. Wow. So that's something you can still fight back on. Hey, Carol Baker. Hello, fam. That's something you can fight back on. And that's something people will lie. And that's how come I was able to remove the word allegation, from the law. And you have to have no knowledge of fact. The topic really is, do we believe that police have qualified immunity and what qualified immunity is and what it does, how to overcome it, basically. But now we're talking about CPS caseworkers having qualified immunity because they do have qualified immunities too, and they're not elected officials. They're not even appointed officials. They don't even have an oath of office. So we're trying to understand why they even get qualified immunity. I think it's been abused, but again, these lawyers out here, they understand what qualified immunity is, that they're not challenging it or trying to overcome it the way the rule says it's supposed to be overcome. If I was a lawyer and a family say, hey, I want to sue the police department for, beating my child or what have you. If I would, tell that plaintiff or my potential client that, hey, you can do what you will. We'll go ahead and draft up this complaint and we'll file it. But I want you to know they do have qualified immunity. And the only way you can overcome that if you don't ask for monetary damages, meaning money. And you can win as long as we have the facts and as long as we file a statutory violation, constitutional violation. If I was a lawyer, I'll fight for that, but you have to ask for declaratory injunctive relief. And I'll be asking, what kind of relief are you seeking? What do you want the courts to do for you? In that case, for people that's just coming on, they'll have to say, I want the police officer to lose their badge. Or I just want the department to change their policy. I want an apology. I want a public apology or something. Those are examples of declaratory injunctive relief. So that's what we need to be asking for. So anytime y'all want to go after police officer, remember, if you know they're gonna hire behind qualified immunity and they are within their official capacity. I don't know how many of the officials at all. If they are within that, then monetary damage is not what you want to look for. Injunctive relief is what you want to look for. So the other things we have to break down, how are they qualified when they're not officials? We want to get to that now, Anthony. How are they qualified when police officers are really not officials? They should not be in officials capacity. Even when your lawsuit goes through, I'm talking to the audience, even you decide to, and it look like I'm gonna bring you back in. But I'm very well versed, when it comes to this type of stuff. And I want to really teach them how to fight this system back. If you have some questions, let's go, so I'm not just trying to take over the show. I just want you to know that they got to get this, and I think you learning it too at the same time.
Yes. That's why I'm sitting here being quiet.
Okay. And Carol Baker said she suffered bodily harm due to brutality from 2 police officers. So, and you would think and see that right there, it's already known that they violated her right. And then number one, she they caused her harm, so she's an injured party. Number two, you will have standing. I'm gonna say number one. Number one, you will have standing because you are an injured party. So if you ever want to bring suit against a police officer because you have bodily injury, you are injured party, you have standing to bring that suit against that police officer. Will that police officer have a high qualified immunity? Of course, they will absolutely have a high qualified immunity, because if you don't know how to challenge it, if anybody don't know how to challenge it, they will win on qualified immunity automatically. Their attorney going to see that you're asking for monetary damages and already know they're going to get that suit dismissed on maybe a summary judgment if you know how to survive through all your emotions and things of that nature. So they already know because of the monetary damages there, they're going to have a high qualified immunity and they'll be able to. So again, if you go after that injunctive relief and ask to put them in their individual capacity versus their official capacity, because qualified immunity is for officials, okay? But when you put people in their individual capacity, it's no longer for officials, So then you have a chance of surviving the summary judgment. You have a chance of winning the lawsuit as long as you point out your injury, which I'm sure you can point out your injury. You can point out the constitutional violation. You can point out statutory violation. So you'll be able to win. But I tell you what, they're going to try like hell to make sure you do not win that lawsuit, because they do not want a case law. And so they try to prevent case laws from happening, because when your case law actually exists and you actually won the case, they know people like me and anybody else that, get deprived by police officer will pull that case law and win on that same merit. So this is why they throw all kind of monkey wrenches into the judicial system to make sure we, the people that pro se, cannot make case laws, because they know they have to honor those case laws. Let me see what else Carol said.
I've had so money would definitely involve.
So if money, so then you will have 2 routes then. So right now, to fight this here, I would use strategic planning, right? So let's talk about that part. I'll be very strategic with it. So if you want money, you probably won't get much, right? You probably won't get much if you go after the police officers' bond, like the insurance bond. If you go after the bond, you might just have to go to the max for their bond. So you can get money that way without going through the court system. You can just pull the police officers' bond from the the city of Houston Risk Management Department. Okay. They will fight you tooth and nail to make sure they don't give you that bond information. But if you got subpoenaed it, you gotta have to. So you can get that bond information and file a claim like you would file a claim against a car insurance accident, file a claim against that police officer bond, and you can get money that way. So you can go there. But if you want to file injunctive declaratory relief and get public apologies and some policy reforms, some changes, I will still do that. So you will have that. They can't shield behind qualified immunity. Now, if you're going on the federal side, it's different. The police officer not federal. That's different. Now, some people have won their cases and got monetary damages too, because they still use qualified immunity, but they use the individual capacity versus official capacity. And then they was able to show constitutional violation, able to show statutory violation at the same time. What I'm just saying, it will be kind of hard, but you can still fight them both. I'll fight 2 separate claims. One in a federal court. I would never do state court on police officers ever. Federal court, and that's it. So you can do the claim by itself outside the court system, and then you can do the claim within the court system. So she has something else to say. Absolutely. So hey, I would just play it like that. Let me see. I'm gonna let you take this one in a minute, Anthony, after I finish reading hers.
Yeah.
Hold on, Carol. What you saying? Not yet. No, not just money, but mainly to have their badge surrender and policy change. So that's your declaratory injunctive relief. That's when you can survive and overcome as a defense the qualified immunity. That means they can't survive under that, so they can't ask for a dismissal. They can, but you can object to their dismissal and let them know there's not monetary damages and declaratory injunctive relief. And here's all the violation that's named. So count 1, count 2, count 3, count 4. Keep naming all the count. And let's see what Shane talking about. He talking about that you read it, but I'm gonna take it because it's talking about resisting, and this is one of my favorites anyway.
As soon as you start resisting arrest and they start wrestling with you, that will almost always take it off the table for you to fight injury charges. Basically, they will say you put yourself in this situation for them to take force to apprehend you. Then it becomes how much force they use, whether or not they went beyond, above and beyond. Whether or not.
Okay, he said he's not speaking.
Okay.
He said he's not speaking for the case directly. Okay, so
Yeah,
he's not
no.
speaking about your case directly, Carol. But I'm gonna take this, Anthony. I want you to read it, and then you can chime back in because I don't want nobody confused. Okay, so resisting arrest. Let's talk about that. Shane, you know, we hear a lot of resisting arrest. We hear a lot of evading arrest, but more so we hear resisting arrest, and police officers use that as a defense. They use fear for our lives as a defense. So the main two they use is resisting arrest and being fearful. And number one, we need to put more emphasis on resisting arrest. Number one, you can't resist unlawful arrest at all. If the arrest was not lawful, and it's not up to you to deem that right on the streets, because there's no judge, there's no jury on the streets right between the officer and the alleged suspect. So no one know if that arrest was even lawful at all. Number one, if that officer never had a warrant for that arrest, it's always unlawful. So if you can't even charge somebody with a resisting arrest when you never had a warrant for that person to be arrested. And I'm gonna tell you something, 98% of the time out of 100, Shane, and anybody else, police officers don't have warrants. When these traffic stops, a lot of these resisting arrests come from these traffic stops, or they come from officers just asking you questions and things like that. Next thing you know, you have been arrested. So at that moment, there's no injury to either party, no injury to the officer in the beginning, no injury to the person, right? Mm-hmm. In the beginning, you know. And so let's say that person make it without injury, and now that person in handcuffed, and they make it down to the police station, and you see resisting, stop resisting. Well, hell, do you even have a warrant for my arrest? Because you just got me at the traffic stop and you just give me a new citation. I don't have no warrants out for my arrest, but you are already giving me a new citation. The moment you don't even have a warrant for probable cause to seize me, the arrest is already unlawful. So you can't resist unlawful arrests, period. And in fact, that police officer can be hurt bodily. We can injure that person bodily for, you know, making unlawful arrests. And let me tell you something also, the moment them lights hit you, you are already under arrest. The moment they hit you with them lights, you are already under a lawful arrest. They haven't stepped out their car. They haven't questioned you. They don't have a warrant in their hand most of the time. You are already under arrest. They have already seized you. They have already violated the 4th Amendment right there. So you can't resist unlawful arrest. And sometimes those unlawful, the resisting arrest be a standalone charge. You know, I can see if you caught me in a felony crime in your view, and then you charge me with resisting arrest at the same time, you know, because now we got two crimes. You know, you caught me in your view committing a felony crime. Now I'm trying to run or resist or keep the cuff from off me. That's two different things. So I can see those two coming together. But again, you still have to have a warrant for that. So let's just talk about the George Floyd case, just to kind of. Body cams are very important, but policies are too. Policy, procedure, and law. So let's talk about George Floyd in his case, right? So George Floyd, someone called about George Floyd using a fake $20 bill, right? It just started like that. Okay, police officer came on the scene. Okay, but that police officer never had a warrant, and that crime, I don't know if that was a misdemeanor crime or if that was a felony crime committed in that view. Okay, committed, period. Okay, so where it went wrong at in terms of policy. So someone made a phone call about George Floyd using a fake $20 bill. Police officer arrived on the scene without a warrant. Okay, made the detain. He seized George Floyd in his person, violating the 4th Amendment. He detained him and all that. So this is all without a warrant. If George Floyd wanted to resist, if anybody say he resisted, he moved, whatever, he could, because number one, it's an unlawful arrest. Number two, you never verified that $20 bill was fraud through forensic and things of that nature. You never even took it through a proper investigation to come out with a warrant by the DA with an official charge, sign off by the judge, and the warrant signed off by the judge, then come back and look for George Floyd. So the whole arrest was unlawful, period, because they did not follow the 14th Amendment. 14th Amendment is procedural due process. They didn't follow the paperwork. They didn't follow the paper trail. So it was their fault. The whole thing was their fault. And they have on training. He said something about fake $20 bill. If proven using fake $20 is a felony offense, right? I don't know if it's under, I don't know how the $20, because it's a $20 amount, but then we're talking about fraud too. So I don't know how Minneapolis classify that charge at all. I don't know if it was felony or not, but I do know one thing about the law. For police officer, a felony crime has to be committed in their view for them to make the unconstitutional arrest without a warrant. Arrest, you heard what I said, unconstitutional arrest without a warrant. I know in the state of Texas, a police officer make arrest without a warrant, but that's unconstitutional because the Constitution, 4th Amendment, said you have to have a warrant for an arrest, period. But the chapter 14 in the Texas Penal Code say they can make that as long as there's a felony committed in their view. So if the officer never saw me commit no crime, a felony crime, unconstitutionally in their view, they can't detain me, nor can they arrest me. They can't get me for a resisting arrest. They can't get me for evading arrest, but they do. But it's up to us to fight off those policies and procedures. Unconstitutional. Guess I am asking about the detainment. Say driving drunk. They can't detain you without a warrant. No, they can't arrest you. Detainment is arresting. You know, you've been seized. You can't move until they tell you. You know, so that's still arrest. They can't do none of that without a warrant at all. And Shane, it would be hard for them to get a warrant. So if you look up, there's a I don't know what chapter this in Texas. I maybe say about the warrant. There's a chapter about a warrant requirement. I don't know if it's chapter 22, 25. You have to look it up. But look up warrant requirement, Texas law on warrant requirement, or Texas criminal rules of procedure on warrant requirement. So that's there. So once you look at the warrant requirement and there's a 4-corner rule, I mean, let's say you just drive it. No police officer don't know who in the hell Shane Hawkins is. They don't know Shane Hawkins is going to be at the light when they pull you over. But they don't even know where you're gonna be at. They didn't know. They don't even know you exist. But finally, you exist when they pull you over. Now they know who you are. They know where they pull you over at. But they never had a warrant for that traffic infraction or for that alleged crime. They never had a warrant. That's unconstitutional. That's a crime all in itself. In fact, it's a violation of 18 USC 242, and it goes up under 42 USC 1983. You know, so these are frivolous crimes, and these are bad faith. These are crimes committed in bad faith, you know, in the view of police officer, in the view of you. You know, so you can't just pull me over. So let's talk about the warrant requirement, Anthony. So here's the 4 corner. I'm gonna just give y'all 4 corners. These are 4 corners, right? Okay. So if there was a warrant out for my arrest, right? It's gonna you guys see what the Constitution said. Anthony, you read it before. You want to bring it up? That 4th Amendment?
Yeah, I'm going to pull it up now.
So he's going to bring up the 4th Amendment. He's going to read it verbatim what it says, because this is constitutional. So you got to follow what's in this here. You can't go outside of this 4 corner. So if the 4 corners say Demetrius Smith, they can't even arrest you until you have a warrant. And Anthony, get ready to read that. So this is something you all can find in the law yourself. They can't even arrest you. He said, so are you saying they have to let you go until they get a warrant? That will put their life and everyone else's life in danger. So we need a judge available 24/7. So we need to follow the Constitution, period. And he's getting ready to read that to you. Okay. Yeah. So nobody's life will be in jeopardy, Shane, if nobody will pull you over. You get what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, I get what you're saying. If somebody's driving recklessly, you know, what have you, we need to have someone to pull you over. Well, number one, you have to have a warrant. So if the warrant say Demetrius Smith is going to be on Yellowstone at 11:42 p.m. on Thursday night, and she's going to have a sundress on and some shades and all that, and describe me and say we're going to seize her, we're going to seize her laptop, we know she's going to have in the car, we're going to seize her phone. You know, you have to describe what you're getting ready to do to Demetrius Smith on Thursday night, because you got a warrant now it's been signed off by the judge, right? So you know I'm about to be at Yellowstone on Thursday night at 11:42 p.m. You see how crazy this sounds, right? So you know I'm about to be there at the red light at 11:42 p.m. on Yellowstone Drive with my sundress on, my glasses, my laptop. You know you're gonna see me the laptop. You're gonna see all my little property keys, card, and all that. Demetri gonna be driving a gold Lexus, blah blah blah. We know where she's gonna be at. Here, Your Honor, we need you to sign off on this here because we know where Demetri gonna be at 11:42 p.m. on Thursday night. That's your four corners. So guess what you gotta do? You gotta go sit there, wait on Demetri Smith at 11:42 p.m. because you know, I don't know how you know through a clear crystal ball, they're about to commit some kind of crime at that night. So you gotta follow what the judge say. I'm signing off on it here because you said she's gonna be here at this time, this day. She's gonna have this on. You're gonna take her. You're gonna take the car. You're gonna take the laptop. You're gonna take her phone. That's the four corner rule. These are warrant requirements. They can never do that, Shane. They can never do. They don't know who we are until they stop us.
Which
even say probable cause. That was that's in the Fourth Amendment.
Yeah, that's
the United States Constitution, Fourth Amendment. Probable cause and sworn oath and affirmation. Absolutely, Steve Bass. And they don't have an oath of affirmation. Police officers do not have that. They have an oath of honor. You know, so. And that's another constitution requirement too. Like they don't have that, but the judge have. I mean, if you say the judge have to sign off on that, the judge do have to sign off on that with probable cause, sworn oath, and affirmation on file. So they have to sign off on that warrant, knowing what you're getting ready to seize, where you're going to seize, the location you're going to seize, and who you're going to seize, and that is the Fourth Amendment. So we must follow that, but we don't have nobody to follow those laws. We don't, and these officials know that. So they can always lose a court case if you know how to challenge your right. She said, okay, so you get pulled over. What other legality at that point? Number one, I mean, you either have a right, because number one, they're going to do the unconstitutional and arrest you anyway, right? So number one, you have the right to invoke your Fifth Amendment because more you say, then the police have a report, and, you know, they can say anything on that police report at the end of their shift, you know, because they're going to get you to engage in conversation and hopefully that you admit, you know, and you not incarcerate, what you call it? You incriminate yourself, you know. So as long as you got something to say, they have something to write, is where I'm at. If you don't have nothing to say, they don't have anything to write. I mean, because police reports go in to the DA office, and when they go into the DA office, of course, they're gonna find a charge for you, you know. So if I don't have nothing to say, you don't have nothing to write, what you gonna submit to the DA office? To me, that's the best way to fight that. But then they're gonna say, oh, you're not complying or you're not cooperating with us. They're gonna come with all this other extra stuff, and you still don't have to do that because you're within your Fifth Amendment, right? So that's the first and foremost thing. Second thing, do you have a warrant for this arrest? Am I being arrested? They say yes. Do you have a warrant for this arrest? They're not going to have a warrant for that arrest. They may have it, and if they do have it, may I see that warrant? They have to give it to you quickly, you know. And then how are they going to go back and execute a warrant that you have never saw? And that warrant have to be made available for public view, public inspection, and all of that. And then you also know that that's what the rules say. And if you don't have a warrant available for public inspection, who say there's a warrant out there anyway? So with that being said, is there a warrant? So, and then you can still challenge them on a procedural due process because you do not have procedural due process. So invoke your Fifth Amendment. If you say nothing, they don't have anything to write. And at the same time, if they have a warrant out for your arrest, you want to see that warrant, you know, and these charges can't be official. You know, they want to take you to jail. Then they want to do the investigation for a few days. And then they want to make the charge official without the evidence supporting probable cause. So that's an instrument, but there's no probable cause to support that charging instrument or that indictment at all. So that's a problem all in itself. So these are all procedural due process violations. How can any police officer, any government official that's supposed to safeguard your constitutional right get qualified immunity or absolute immunity? These are all due process, procedural due process violation of your rights, of your civil rights, and they get qualified immunity. They cannot. Go ahead, Anthony. Did you find it?
Yeah, the Fourth Amendment protects citizens from unreasonable search and seizure. The government may not conduct any search without a warrant, and such warrant must be issued by a judge and based on probable cause. This is the Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution.
But you also read before it tell you about the locations and all that
Yeah,
in
that
depth. Clause.
yeah, that's I think that's I'm gonna pull that up because yeah, this is
Mhm.
just just a brief synopsis of it, but they have actually more of it, so may have to go into it.
Yeah, so you can't even have that at all, y'all. So he read the Fourth Amendment. So that's the highest law of the land, not the law of the sea, but that's the highest law of the land. So Shane, I just want you to know that that's not the sea, that's the maritime, the highest law of the land,
You just said something
so
about the law to see.
that's the law of the land, not the law of the sea. It's the highest law of the land. So your Fourth Amendment cannot be infringed upon. It sounds like it would be a war zone if they keep doing, if they do not do it the way the Fourth Amendment say, or United States Constitution said, it would appear that it would be a war zone. But it's still a war zone right now because taxpayers are paying for mass incarceration right now, unconstitutional mass incarceration, when a 14th Amendment due process were not followed, or the United States Constitution were not followed. So you still been stiff for it anyway. He said, but that is for search and seizure of property without a warrant. No, not absolutely. You want to read that again? No, you are secure in your papers. That's how come Donald Trump have not issued his tax return. Okay, this is all from the Fourth Amendment. Read that Fourth Amendment again. You are secured in your person. You are secured in your papers, and you are secured in your property. So can't nobody seize you in your person. Can't nobody seize your paper, your documentation. They ask you to turn over your tax returns. So they can't secure that either, seize that, nor can they secure your property without a warrant. Okay.
And this is coming from the United States Constitution, the Fourth Amendment. Citizens from unreasonable search and seizures. The government may not conduct any search without a warrant, and such warrant must be issued by the judge and based on probable cause. That is from
you didn't read when a person is what a person is secure. People are secure in their person, their property, and their paper. I don't know if you read that. That's all in the Fourth Amendment.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to, like I said, this is just a breakdown of it, but I'm gonna go back to the actual Constitution.
Okay, but if you're reading it, search and seizure, a seizure is when you can't move. They detain you. You've been seized. So understand what you're reading, Shane. So you said, but that is for search and seizure. Yeah, when they seize you, guess what else they gonna do? They're gonna go through your wallet. They're gonna go through your phone. They're gonna seize your property, like your cell phone, your laptop. These are things that I'm talking about. Your car, they're gonna take it and tow it away and all that. And they seizing you, taking you to jail. So, and then guess what? They searching your stuff. They search your car. So search and seizure. When they seize you, they would more than likely search you too. And then when you go to jail, you got to strip out your clothes and they got to feel all over you and all this other stuff. So you still, your rights are still been violated. So understand what you're reading. We are still secure. And you might want to type in the word secure in person, property, and paper. And then I'm sure it will come up. So at the end of the day, we still have to have a described place to search and person and things to be seen as and understand. Well, there you go, Shane. You found it, Shane. How about that? On the same thing. Nah, how about that? So describe the place to be searched and person and things to be seized. As in, I understand what you're saying. Yes. Right? That's that four corner rule. Look up four corner rule later on tonight about warrants. I think you're gonna find some case laws on the four corner rule, right? Whatever is in this paper, because it will be a legal instrument. And you're saying, I'm gonna seize Demetrius Smith at Yellowstone Drive or Road, whatever, at 11 p.m. She gonna have. You gotta describe it. You see what it said? Describe the place to be searched and person and things to be seized. That's what it said. So you have to be in it. Shane, you got some. I love when Shane on here. He got some good questions. He said, does seize mean to take to jail? Seize mean yes too. So seize mean I can't move freely on my own. That's what seize means. And detain is the same as a seizure. Detain, season, once they detain you, once they stop you, you can't move freely on your own until they release you. And they can't do that without a warrant. Okay. The seize means to take to jail or detain in place until a warrant can be received due to the probable cause. When somebody have alleged a crime against you, okay, they send that call in to DA, police, and they investigate. And from that moment, the police officer, there's a law in there too, a police officer cannot establish probable cause, Shane. Only a judge, what we call a jurist, they're the only one that can establish probable cause. So when the affidavit goes with the charging instrument, it starts with the charges, official charge, which is the charging instrument. And attached to that is an affidavit that give rise to all four elements. That's criminally, that's intent. What's that? Negligence. Hold on, let's go. It's intent, knowingly, criminal negligence, and it's another one. No, it's intent. No, it's intent, knowingly, criminal negligence, and something else. Oh God, I lost all the four already. But anyway, so it gives rise to all four. It'll come back. It gives rise to all four elements describing how this constitutes a crime. How did Demetrius Smith commit this crime, and why? How does this constitute a crime? Bodily injury, of course, recklessness, negligence, and recklessness. I tell you, it's going to come. So the recklessness and negligence have to show some type of bodily injury or dead person. Okay. So that's an injury altogether. So you can't say somebody committed a crime and there's no injury nowhere. I mean, the Constitution said you have to have injury to bring any matters into the courthouse. So let's say you got a traffic infraction. I just got a traffic ticket. People go to court every day for traffic ticket, every day, all day. But how do the courts have standing? How does that municipal, that judge or whoever wrote the ticket, the city of Houston, let's say that, how you bringing me to court? I haven't hurt you. How you even have legal standing to be in this courtroom? You don't have legal standing to be in this courtroom because if you're suing me for some type of alleged crime, because they call traffic infraction crime, right? Misdemeanor. So if you sue me for some type of alleged crime, you got to meet all four elements, and you got to show bodily injury. You got to show some type of injury to you. So the city of Houston said, Demetria caused me harm, so I'm bringing her to court. I'm suing her because I need her to pay me. Why am I paying the city of Houston all this money? You suing me. I don't know who the city of Houston is. It's an entity all together. It's not even a person, right? It's just a freaking corporation. So the city of Houston, this corporation bring me to court, and I got to pay the city of Houston, Anthony, all this money. And I haven't caused no harm. I haven't hurt them or nothing, no physical hurt, nobody dead, but I got to pay the city of Houston back. That is not legal standing to be in the courtroom. We cannot do that. And I'm sorry, y'all, we do have to wake up to that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul. So let's do something else. And this is why they can't have qualified immunity. He said, follow you until you kill someone or they get a warrant, whichever comes first. Well, you know what? Sorry, your first point is not in the law. So remember, Shane, we still got to follow the highest law of the land until we the people change the Constitution. If you want that law to be changed, it takes a third of the United States of America, of we the people, to amend that and make those changes. So unfortunately, until it's changed, then it's the law. It's the way it's written. It's to the letter of the law. So until then, I see where you coming in at, but we got to make that change. If you don't like the law the way it's written, then we got to go with the law the way it's written until we can change that. That's where we are. So I'm that person strictly by the United States Constitution, and that's where we have to be at. Unfortunately, that's where it is. Very good information. Thank you. And you have another one, Shane. You're saying, the way I understood it, you say it is unlawful arrest as soon as they turn on the light and put you absolutely, you seize at that moment. It is unlawful. As soon as they turn on that light, and it's forgot where that is. I'm gonna have to bring it up the next time. It is an arrest already. So you already seize at that moment because now they're pulling you over. They're detaining you right then and there. They already made their arrest. I haven't seen no police officer Mirandize anybody lately on the street. So they don't read you your Miranda rights. So the moment they make their arrest with the red, white, and blue lights, the American flag lights, as long as they make their arrest right then and there, they supposed to Mirandize you. You have a right to remain silent and go through the whole shebang because this is the time and the moment that you can invoke your Fifth Amendment right. Remember, you don't have nothing to say. They don't have nothing to write. They don't have nothing to turn in. They don't have no charges to file. It's just over with. What can you do? that's just a clean slate, or you ask for a warrant for that arrest. And this, you don't have no warrant, but now they're giving you a citation and all that. Then on the other thing is there's no injury. There's no injury. There's no harm been, no harm at all. But in the George Floyd case, hell, the family have standing to bring a lawsuit into the courtroom because there was injury caused, so they have standing. Well, it wasn't injury caused for them. So that's a little shaky. That's not a okay. Just in case they're not thinking. What are the strategies to change what they're unlawful doing? The only strategy, Carol Baker, is following the Constitution and following the 14th Amendment of procedural due process. If we knew the criminal rules of procedure, and if you're in the state of Texas, either one of your states have what we call criminal rules of procedure. I could go into the being a natural man and all that, but we're not going to go there. Let's stick with the citizens, okay? We'll have a show about the natural man. We'll bring a guest speaker on for that, because that's a whole nother solution. So let's stay with the citizenship solution, right? We're going to be there. So the only solution that we have is knowing the 14th Amendment, the procedural due process, meaning these government officials have to follow all of the procedure, which is called due course of law. If you do not follow due course of law, you offend the rule of law. So that means you have to follow the law exactly, the procedure exactly the way it is written. And if they don't do that, then it's a violation of your due process right. And that's the first fundamental right that we have as citizens of the United States of America, is that. So the strategy is knowing the 14th Amendment procedural due process, knowing the due course of law, knowing the warrant, warrant requirements, so you can have that, and knowing your Fifth Amendment, how you can invoke your Fifth Amendment. And so if you know these charging instruments as well, Sherry got something to say. So I was hit by a drunk driver in February of 2018. There was a couple that followed the woman that hit me. They followed her because she ran them off the road and was driving recklessly. They called the cops and reported her. Meanwhile, they continued to follow her. She ended up hitting me and my child when we were stopped at the red light. I thank God for their testimony in my case. I thank God the cop that detained her took her butt to jail. I get that, but unfortunately, she still would have. Now, you said you was hit, so she could have been lawfully charged. You said you was hit by a drunk driver. If you was injured, Sherry, because that's legal standing to take that case into the courtroom. So by law, she would have been charged of a crime after all the thorough investigation. I don't know if it'll be a class A, class B, C. I know it definitely wasn't a class C or felony, right? So legally, she would have been charged for that crime if she caused you any type of bodily injury, because now you have standing to bring that lawsuit in, Sherry. So there's nothing wrong there. But, and the other person that intervened, that, ran behind her to stop her, to make sure she go to jail, no hit nobody else, that helped your case, Hold on, Anthony. So it was a testimony to your case. And so with that being said, I think that was good. But the question is, did the police officer actually followed the procedure? And you said he took her butt to jail, which means he didn't see that hit. He was called. So he didn't follow due course of law. He didn't follow procedural due process at all. And if she knew that an attorney was willing to fight that, she would have got off on that lesser charge, or she would have got off on the whole thing, because, her rights still was violated, although you was injured, and you could have just filed a civil lawsuit. It wouldn't have been a criminal thing then. It would have been a civil matter at that moment for you. And if she had any type of money to repay you, right, it goes there. But that police officer did not follow the exact due course of law. So I just want to be, hey, Lady Hale, and I just want to be very transparent on the law. So she said, I thank God he searched her car and found 8 empty beer cans. And guess what happened? Even with that search, if he didn't have a warrant, if that lawyer was good, that's what we call fruit from a poisonous tree. That's a doctrine that he wouldn't want in that doctrine. So because he didn't get called out to that. So if he didn't have a warrant, nor did she give him permission, and if she knew how to challenge that, all that would have went away. And that wouldn't have been an extra charge. All that would have went away. So police officers don't have a right to search anybody's vehicle, anybody property without a warrant or without their, I don't care what she did. she still had rights. That's because she did something bad. And then we got to ask, was it her intention? She was a drunk driver, you say, So she didn't wake up and say, I'm getting ready to hit Sherry at this location at this time because I want to hit Sherry. You got to think like that too. It was an accident. Did she have intentions to actually hit your car and hurt you? No, you probably think, oh, you know what? She needs to be a responsible citizen though, and make sure that she don't drink and drive so she don't hurt anybody. That I get you there if that's where your mindset is, but she didn't wake up with the intent to hit Sherry at all. So you got to go there. It wasn't her intent. So the charging instrument said that person had to intentionally knowingly. That means she didn't intend. I don't even if she probably didn't even know what the hell she was doing. She hit you. So it goes there. So guess what? Those two elements would not have been met because she was drunk, and everybody knew in that case that she was drunk. But she had a defense lawyer that knew that they could have overcame that charge, that intent, because she didn't wake up with that mindset. She didn't know who you were. She didn't know you even existed. So you got to understand where you might not like what I'm saying, but this is the law. So if we're going to go with the law, you want your police officer to always save you. Police officers always have to obey the law because remember, they call themselves law enforcers. So they want to come out and try to enforce laws upon the people, but they're not following their own laws they're trying to enforce. So you can't sit here and, be thankful, I'm glad you're alive, but you can't be thankful for police officers violating the law themselves and violating somebody's rights, although she wasn't in her right state of mind because she didn't know who you were and you was going to be driving, where you was going to be driving that night and all that.
Right. I get what you're saying.
She didn't know. I shouldn't be out, if I'm drinking or anything like that. I should just, sit down. That's the moral side of it. But on the legal side of it, the police officer unfortunately broke the law in all areas. He just did. Okay, I'm glad you get what you're saying. They tested her blood alcohol level, but he have to wait for a warrant. Yeah, he had to wait for a warrant. He couldn't even arrest her without one at all. See what you're saying? You're probably thinking that because this is the law. You can find this. What I'm saying yourself. That's why I say look up if whatever state you're in. Look up warrant requirement and look up the Fourth Amendment. And you'll see just those two things. And look up charging instrument and look up what constitutes a crime. So when you see all that, you're going to see it's written in black and white. And once you see it's written in black and white, you're going to be like, oh, wow, we have police officers out here violating all kind of laws out here. They violate all kind of procedures out here. And we're wasting our tax dollars on police officers and, violating all these. They're committing crimes, trying to enforce laws themselves. They're committing crimes. And it's in the, it's in 18242. They are also committing crime under the color of law. It's called under the color of law. Look up what under the color of law means too. You can't act like you in your authority and you violate laws within that capacity. You just can't do that. So we do have police department that's been trained to actually violate these laws. I don't know if they've been trained intentionally. I can't say that, but I do know since you have the department itself as a mass and as a whole out here violating people's rights and out here violating all due process procedural, you think we have good cops. Their intent may be good, but the training is horrible. I can see all kind of violations. She had something else to say. Anthem, let you take this one. Well, maybe that's why he had her detained for 1.5 hours before he took her to jail. They was trying to find number one, he still took her to jail. And number two, the warrant wouldn't have stood. Let's say he got a warrant after he detained her. That wouldn't have stood, Sherry. He had to have a warrant and know that she was going to be at that location because like Anthony read to you, if you heard it in the Fourth Amendment, you have to already describe the location where that person is going to be at. And the person you're going to seize or the things you're going to seize that's in the Fourth Amendment. So you can't wait on a warrant, because he didn't know she was going to be there in that location. And then the judge signed off on that warrant after the fact. Then they didn't meet the warrant requirement. So that's another process, a 14th Amendment due process procedure violation. So either way it go, he did it backwards, I'm sorry. You can read Shane. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think I want to go along with the arrest. Keep my mouth shut. Pray that they don't shoot me fight it in court. I
True.
start spouting off about these things, whether constitutional or not, I'm just going to piss them off.
And you
And
know what?
that's a natural
That's true.
reaction. That is a natural reaction. You are, because it's like, you know right from wrong, but yet some of these officers choose not to do right and do wrong. And yes, you do have a right to be upset. But at the same time, in this day and time, Shane, and you just said that it's probably your best bet to fight them in court, and not they're out there on the street, because you want to go home to your wife and children. You want to go home and see your loved ones. You want to go home from that traffic stop. And if you are detained for whatever reason, you're, like you said, your best bet is to remain silent. Exercise your Fifth Amendment right. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you can or say will be used against you in a court of law. Period. Of course. And in my opinion, this is just my opinion, there's going to be stuff added to your statement or omitted from your statement. It could work either way. They could say something, they could add some things to it that are totally not there, that totally did not happen. But that's your word against theirs. So if you remain silent, just like Demetrius said, they have nothing to write. They have nothing to document. Nothing, because you exercise your Fifth Amendment right. Now, when it goes back to the Fourth Amendment, supported by an oath or affirmation, the particular described place to be searched and the person or things to be seized. Just like that, you got to have a warrant describing person, place, or thing. It's a noun. That warrant is a noun. It is describing the person, the place, or thing to be seized. And if it is not in there, then you can challenge that. You can challenge that. They have to give you that warrant so you can read it, so you know what that warrant is saying. Oh, I have a warrant for your arrest. Well, can I read it first? No, you're going to jail. No. I want to read it first. I have that right to read it.
They have a few days though to give you that, and then you can still, like Shane said, you're going to fight that in court, and that's when you can more than likely, if you know what you're doing and have the respect by the judge, get your case dismissed, because all those unconstitutional violations, all those, the 14th Amendment and all that. Lady Hale, sure, you're welcome to come on our show. Said I need to come on your show. We will have youth on my show talking about their fear of the police. I would like to come on yours too. Invite me there so I can talk. Youth 8 to 25, no questions off limits. Let's go. So if you want to come on the show, let me know when, and I'll just go ahead and put you on the schedule so we can just go. If you just want to have I don't know, however you want to orchestrate this, you can. You're more than welcome, lady. I would love to have you on the show. So inbox me or call me or text me or however you want to reach me, and let me know. We'd love to have you on. Anthony, I think they have something to say to you.
I think we would love for you to come on and talk with our youth. Absolutely. Yes. I would love to do that. Absolutely. You can either do it here or I can fly back to Houston. Either way, it don't matter to me. I'll do that. Absolutely, I would do that.
I think hers Facebook Live, lady. Absolutely. It's gonna be Facebook Live or at the studio. Let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Absolutely.
But absolutely. So I'm excited though. I'm excited. So even with all that we just forementioned about procedurals, due process procedurals, and Fourth Amendment Constitution, this is why qualified immunities will not stand. This is the real reason why qualified immunities will not stand, and this is another reason why you can overcome qualified immunity. You know what? I like to hear why you're afraid, because you're getting ready to make a strong point. She said, I'm scared of the police, and we Black America, we're the main one, have to be afraid. We can die at traffic stop, So she said, I'm scared of the police, and I'm a middle-class white one. Please let us know. I like to hear from you.
Come on, Sherry.
She gonna do a Facebook Live, so you don't have to fly anywhere. Okay. So I'm gonna wait on Sherry, but if she'd like to respond, but let's read Shane. I honestly have been blessed over the years. Maybe it's the fact I'm a people person who was taught respect for each other. I learned real quick to say yes, sir, and yes, ma'am, or my dad would whoop your
Yeah,
He had
yeah,
been in the military, as you all know. Humor goes a long way. I didn't even know you was from the military, so thank you,
yeah.
thank you. You know, if you, I didn't know. I had no idea. Did you know, Anthony?
I think you
One day
mentioned it. Yeah,
comes.
he's Army. Yeah, he's Army.
Oh, he did say that before.
Yeah,
I
he's Army.
forgot. She
Yeah.
said one day conference not before. No, we need a series. You know,
Oh
so you
yeah.
establish it, we'll be ready. I don't have a problem. Call me and I'm there. I've been pulled over 20 to 30 times at least. You've been pulled over? But Shane, you're a white man. How
And
you get
what
pulled
were
over?
you pulled over for?
White? Wait a minute. Y'all sharing something that we didn't. I don't even know anything. And I'm black. You know, you're a white man. You've been pulled over that many times. Oh, talk to me, Shane. Just talk to me. What they doing pulling you over? I thought y'all had privileges.
No, Air Force. I'm sorry, Air Force. Oh, come on, Shane. My bad, Shane. My bad. But hey, you're still a fly guy. Hey, my bad.
Okay, let's see what Sherry is saying. Just scared because there's trash people in this world, black, white, Asian, Hispanic. That is true. That is true, Sherry. That is true. You know, but so she along with us, you know. We definitely afraid. Only arrest once for doing wheelies. Why you arrested for doing wheelies? Were you reckless? Was that a crime? Was that a crime, Shane? Did you hurt somebody doing wheelies in Phoenix? Come on. Did you commit any type of bodily injury? Things like that is what we're talking about. You know, if you committed a bodily injury and that was a actual law that was on a book, it was constitutional law was on a book, then we understand. Hold on, Sherry got something to say. She says, I know good cops and I know bad cops. I'm scared for that bad percentage of human beings out there. Absolutely. I agree. I am too, Sherry. Most definitely. I definitely, they are good and bad cops. We just want the good cops to speak up, though. You know, it'd be great if they can speak up. Let's see what he said.
And my
Go
thing
ahead,
too,
take Shane.
before you read this, I want the good cops that speak up not to be persecuted. I don't want them to get in trouble for speaking up for the bad apples that they stand beside.
Right,
And made to look like they committing a crime because they spoke up.
right.
So and that's something that needs to change. These good officers really need to speak up more, but they shouldn't be persecuted for speaking up more. They should not. They should out these bad cops and be, and shouldn't have to suffer any consequences.
Hold on, Bobby Steele. You a white man, you get pulled over too. Where
With
y'all white
long
privilege
hair.
cards? And where y'all white privilege cards at? He's I'm 61, white with long hair. Yes, get pulled over. Okay. I guess we not by ourselves. Black America I know white people get pulled over, but I didn't know 20 or 30 times. Dang, you know.
Yeah,
What
that's
the
what
hell?
I was like, what the heck are you doing, Shane?
You know, I guess did I have it wrong? Did I think wrong on the white privilege thing? Are we equally getting pulled over? I tell you one thing, y'all not being killed at traffic stops, and you know that's not happening. Not with white America. That's happening with Black America. But you know, I see we kind of equally. I think we equally getting pulled over. I'm not gonna I can't bank on that one. So this was back in 04. I got the bike and went from my wallet, and the cop said, "Don't worry about it. You're under arrest and going straight to jail." I never said a word. Oh my God. He needed something to do. He needed to meet his little quote.
Yeah,
He needed to meet his little quote. But now you know a little bit more, Shane. So now, based on what you read, I know you're gonna probably do some more research. You know, I know you will probably just take that ride too, and now you have a big defense when you get ready to face, you know, if it ever happened, God forbid, you have to face the judge or the jury, you know, and this is our defense. See, we just need to know 14th Amendment procedural due process and your 4th Amendment, the warrant requirements and the penal rules of we were going to finish you.
But he ain't. It's something wrong with him.
He said they were raised. Shut up, Shane. Shame.
Oh
Shame.
Shame, boy. Ooh, man.
Oh. Where you at, Lady Hell?
Okay.
Where is it
Oh,
at?
Sherry had to go. Thank you, Sherry, for
Oh,
saying what you
love
had
you,
to say.
Sherry. Okay. She said one of the youth, what she said? One of the youth coming on with his group of white kids, they were stealing. The video showed the black young man was not stealing, and he was the only one arrested. He learned a hard lesson is still on his record. Huh? When did
What?
this in Houston?
Wait a minute. Wait. Hold up.
When,
Hold.
hold on. When, no. I hope we come back to this show. They coming on your show or they coming on this show? Just let me know. I want to be in on this. That's
Yeah.
crazy as hell.
Yeah. The white kids was, and they showed it on video. The youth, he was not stealing, but he was the only one arrested. So that right there is racial profiling right there. They racially profiled him.
Yeah, they
And he
did.
clearly was not doing anything, but they took him to jail. Wow. Wow.
Shane, Shane need to put him over my lap.
Wait a minute. The kids were saying taking to jail from the back seat made them laugh. The cops was laughing.
Who's coming on your show?
Oh man.
Let me know when your show. Let me know when you have him on the show.
Yeah.
Lady here, I'll definitely like to tune in to that show. You might want to put that out there. Just tag people so people can see, or just put it out there so in the comments so I can post it, so we'll know when he'll be on your show, so we can come on. Shane right here, Shane. I tell you, I don't know what to do with you. We love it when you're on here though. Wow,
Yeah.
that's jacked up. Did he have a previous record? Yeah, warrants and right? Something. Oh, yes, it does go a long way. Shane, humor.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Bobby
Sure.
Steele. What Bobby? I would like to read the actual report. Absolutely. Absolutely. Who report? Your report, or just are you just making like a general statement saying the report? You know what? And it's hard to get those reports, but I think we can get them. So I like to read the charging instrument, because what's on the report, Bobby, still goes to the charging instrument, and charging instrument be very short. Probably it's not even an old paragraph. So they have the official charges on there, and whatever's supposed to be in a report is supposed to be in a charging instrument or supposed to be in an affidavit. And more than likely, they don't even attach. I have not seen anybody attach. In Galveston, they do. Not all the time, though. But Harris County DAs, police officers do not attach affidavits to the charging instrument to give rise to all the crimes at all. And cops report, absolutely. Yeah, I like to see those reports. I like to see the affidavits.
Absolutely.
If you don't have an affidavit, Bobby Steele, the way the law is written, the way the rules are written, if you don't have an affidavit, you can't, put a charging instrument out there. You can't charge anybody officially without an affidavit. And if you look up, anybody can go to records and see that they're on charge when you get signed up, right? And then when you see that, you'll see in the images just the charging instrument, but you won't see the official affidavit attached to it. And they supposed to send the charging instrument and the affidavit to the judge. Then the judge will see the probable cause arise in the affidavit itself, and then sign off on it. Because in the affidavit, they have a signature for the judge to sign off establishing probable cause. But the DA, this is where the DA is bad at too. The DA know for a fact that these charging instruments coming in without affidavits attached to them, and they allow these charging instruments to go through. Charging instrument, y'all, is the official charge. Once they got the police report, they put it in a system called GIMS. Look it up. J is the acronym GIMS. JIMS. Justice Integrated Management System, something to that fact. Justice Integrated Management System. I may be wrong, but GIMS is what it is. So they take the police report, but they write their little stupid narrative or they lying narrative, and they create the charging instrument. They're supposed to have the affidavit, and the evidence supposed to be attached to this affidavit at the same time. all this information is supposed to go to the judge, which is the jurist. And then when they see that, based on evidence and based on the affidavit, charging instrument, give rise to all the elements of the crime has been committed because it has been constituted, and they sign off on it, pull warrant out for your arrest, describing the near B places are you going to be, and they go look for your body, your live body. This young man never had a record. She said, it's not. Wow. Now he have one.
Yeah.
That's sad. Okay. To that, you both would be on that show. He's not the only young black man to have a problem with police. That's why we are having these shows. Absolutely. And you see, procedural due process audience is very, very imperative that, we may be kind of joking around a little bit, having some fun and some humor with Shane. Thank you. And for everybody else. But at the same time, it's very imperative that we learn our rights and we learn their policies and procedures. We must, and this is how we can navigate through the court system. This is how we can win on our defense, but we have to stay on the policy and procedures violation. We must stay on that, and this is how cases can be dismissed. And again, because of all this here, a reasonable person can see, if now and you put it in your petition, these are all the different counts of violation against you, then they can't get qualified immunity. So it goes back to, how are they able to get qualified immunity? Well, look at all these violations. How can anybody get qualified immunity? How are you going to hide behind when you offend due course of law, when you offend the rule of law, and when you offend somebody, when you violate somebody's due process? You can't. See what Shane have to say. Go ahead, Anthony. And we get ready to wrap it up.
Of every story, as I've been learned through my life, I honestly know I've lied my butt off to try to get out of trouble. Now, how many times I admitted to drinking during my times being pulled over? No, sir, I haven't had a drink to drop. Well, you got lucky, Shane. You got lucky. And if you lied to get out of trouble, you must be a master at it. But there's a lot of people that will fold. They will crumble. They will just completely just fall apart because they are rattled. No record that it was definitely jacked up. The only one arrested. Oh wow, of the group. Yeah, that is jacked up. But back to you, Shane. If you lied to get out of trouble, then that was your defense mechanism. But this young man, the white kids that were stealing, they see on camera he's not doing anything, but he's the only one arrested. And that right there, to me, is straight racial profiling. You are looking at this footage, if they seen it or not. But in this store, these white kids were clearly caught stealing. The black man was not doing anything. So why was he taken? They racially profiled him. They assumed that he was whatever they assumed, but they didn't take the actual criminals. They took an innocent bystander. Was it based on his color? Probably so. Probably so. And that is the bias that has to be eliminated. That is the bias that has to be destroyed in these police departments. So defunding the police department, yes, I'm for that. Not eliminating the police department, no. The training manuals, the training itself, the psych evaluations, all of this must be done. It has to be done, and it starts from the top. So with them getting, this millions and millions and hundreds of millions of dollars for the police department, for what? They have enough money. They get new cars every few years. I don't know how often they get them, but they get new cars. They get new equipment, but the training is not new. These manuals that they have are not new. All of that has to be changed. So this is a two-part thing, okay? The immunity that they get and the defunding. We need to go back to the defunding part of this, because you hit somebody in their pocket, They're going to get some act right. I don't care who you are. If I hit you in your pocket hard enough, I'm going to get some changes made because you don't want your money taken away from you. You don't want to be able to have the liberty and the freedom to go out and purchase the things that you need. Okay, how about getting some new trainers? How about getting some new doctrine? How about getting some doctors that are going to come in and evaluate mental evaluations of these police officers with this misconduct, all of this? Why not take some of that money and put it into these type of organizations and these type of, things that need to be done? Why can't we do that versus giving them these hundreds of millions of dollars? So what is this money actually going for? Are there any improvements in the police department other than equipment? There's no training improvement. And this is our tax money. You're right, Bobby. This is taxpayers' money. So we should have a say-so in what goes on as far as the policies, the procedures for these police departments, these trainings. We should implement, we should come up with something, because we on the receiving end of this misconduct are not being heard. We are not being heard. They say there is no racial profiling, right? There is no racial bias, right? But you are not talking to the people that are being affected by it. You're not talking to the communities and the neighborhoods that are being affected by it. You're not. So you need to come and have a sit down with us and listen to what we are saying that your officers are doing and stop shielding them. That's my take on it. And I am proof that not all have been treated the same. My nephew, on the other hand, was given dubiously each time he was pulled over and went to jail for 7 years after his fourth. How many cops out there would have either let Floyd go or simply taken him to jail? How many would have not shot Brooks? I truly believe you have to judge each case and each person, each situation separately. We all handle situations differently, have different beliefs, different ways of handling life as it happens. Very true. But at the same time, Shane, there should be common sense in your training. That is what your training is all about.
No common sense. It's still law, no matter what. Yeah. Every case
law.
has to be treated according to the law. And to the law we just read, constitutional laws, 14th Amendment procedure, every case should be treated the same in that regard, because we don't have laws critique for each individual by themselves in different cases. No, there's a set of laws, set of rules that we all have to follow. We the people must follow them, and so do our officials have to follow them. So those cases have to be treated the same according to the law. That's the only way we're going to see results. Everybody can't be treated differently at all. So I beg to differ, Shane. I still love you and all, but I beg to differ on that, because we still got to follow the law. So I have to take it back there. No common sense, no nothing. It's the law.
It's law. And why the voters vote on it, it's their money, not some group who wants to control it. Yeah. But when you pay your taxes, who's controlling it? The mayor, the governor. When it comes back from the federal government, that's the first place it goes. It's going to go to the governor. It's going to either go to the mayor. It's going to go to all of these municipalities first, after they take it from us. So we should still be able to have a say-so. We should still be able to have a say-so on what they allocate this money for, what this money is supposed to be used for correctly. If we're going to fund the police department, this is what we want. We want new training. We want these officers to not to be in the academy for 6 months versus how about having them in there for an entire year where they have specific time frames of specific trainings for when it comes to dealing with the citizens. You have to have ethnicity training in various forms, because you have various ethnic groups. At the same time, they all should be treated as human beings. You should have human being training. How do you treat a human being, regardless of what color they are? How do you treat a human being? Like you want to be treated, but you have to follow the law. If the law says this, this is what you must follow. You must not deviate from that. You cannot shortcut it. You cannot, just do a cutback, a rollback. No, follow the law the way you were instructed to follow the law. That's where the constitutional training should come in. The amendments, there should be broken down to where these officers fully understand the position and the job that they're about to take and to uphold. Change their oath. Change it.
So what we're getting ready to end the broadcast. We're on a 2:00 hour. I don't want to go further, but I want to thank you all for listening in and for your comments. So we're gonna have just a brief 30-second last word, and we'll let you know when we're gonna tune back in. I'm gonna make it. I'm more so shooting for Wednesdays weekly until we go back on to daily.
Right.
So Wednesday, we're going to shoot for Wednesday next week. We might continue this topic about qualified immunity, and we might have another topic, a subtopic underneath that as well. But we want to make sure that everybody know their rights. And Shane, I know what you're saying about the resisting arrest, but remember, these arrests must be lawful and not unlawful. So I'm going to stick with, I know you may stick with moralness, but I'm going to stick with constitutional laws. I have no choice but to stick with constitutional laws. This is what we pay for. We pay for our officials to obey the law themselves, not just violate people's rights. So that's where I'm at with that, Shane. Bobby, still, I'm going to take a look at the link that you're sending. I can't open it up here, but I will take a look. If I do, another window will be open up, and I don't want to disrupt the show. But I'm going to go back and look at the link. I wish, can you inbox me the link as well? Because I want to see exactly what you're posting out there. If you can inbox it to me, that'd be great. Anthony, you have your last final words?
Yes. Once again, everybody, thank you. Sherry, Shane, Haley, everybody, Bobby, everybody for coming in. Thank you for your input. We need more of this. So with your dialogue, we can become better. So thank you once again for, sharing. But if you want to be a part of this, please let us know, because we need that diversity. We need that. So once again, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being in the social room. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but we still working it out, and we still online, and we still gonna bring you the information to feed your mind. Mm-hmm. We are here to feed your mind. And if you, and believe it or not, you guys are really feeding us too. So I appreciate it. I appreciate you.
Love your comments.
And thank you. We love your comments. Yes, we do. And
Shane, especially you, Shane Hawkins. We're gonna say your name, Shane Hawkins, Shane Hawkins, Shane Hawkins.
Yes, sir.
We love your humor. We love the diverseness that we have on the show. We welcome everybody to engage. We would not walk away as frenemies. We would not walk away as enemies. We'll walk away as individuals that love each other. Yeah, Shane, you need to be in time out sometime. But just go to the corner, man. Just hit the corner. But we love you, though. We love you. And I'm saying that just, so, but we love when you on. So come back on, Shane. Come back on next Wednesday. We'll have this. We'll continue this topic. But we'll also start another topic. But remember, y'all, my wife says the same. Go stand in the corner. Go a time out. She ought to have fun with you, Shane. Shane, your wife ought to have so much fun with you. It should never be a dull moment in your home. At all.
At all.
Remember, this is war. War means we all rise. So we all gonna rise together in this. I'm starting to love you guys too. Oh, look.
Thank you, sir.
We already love
you. Starting? Wait a minute. Wait. Well, you starting to love us.
Take him a little longer. She's a redhead.
Never adult. Hey,
So both of y'all, Shane. Both of y'all go at it then. Y'all be
Shane,
having
you better
fun.
stop while you ahead, brother. Shane.
Shane need to be in the corner.
You better stop while you behind. Right now, you already said something. You better stop while you're behind before you really get behind and she get your behind. So stop. I'm trying to help
what? Love takes time. That's right. We all rise. That's right.
Yes, we all rise. Thank you, everybody.
We all rise.
We appreciate you.
We had our last word. So tune in next Wednesday. I'll put another flyer up. And of course, I will let you all know, but we love you all. Thank you all for engaging. We love your questions. We love your comment. And also remember, share this video when y'all get over here. Yes, you take care too. Thank you all. Great one. And God bless you all. Bye-bye.
Bye. Peace and blessings.
Bye-bye, Anthony.
Bye, Demetria.
Bye-bye.